Quarantine here. Don't care. What up, losers? It's your resident loser, Rodryoshka. See what I did there? I parodied Superwoman's intro. In case you didn't know, I've been a fan of Lily Singh and her stuff for a couple of months or years now. And that's exactly what I'm gonna be talking about today, if I don't go off track. No, not Lily Singh. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about, which I kept on bringing whenever I get the chance. And that is, bring in the drum rolls, copying and envying, because you can't mention one without the other. It's interchangeable, relatable, just to me at least. Also, for starters, does anyone else do this? Like, you come across someone, fictional or not, and you think they're cool, but you don't really obsess over them, or maybe you do obsess over them. And yet you slowly start to accumulate their traits and their catchphrases. Whatever they do, whether you're aware of it or not, you started to actually slowly become them. Or when you saw someone doing the same things you do, like on the internet or in real life, and then they did something different which you've never done before, and you thought, I can do that. And you try to outdo them, and when you fail miserably, you get kind of pissed off that they did it better than you. First one is copying by influence, whether you're aware of it or not. And the second one is envy, because you can't copy someone that well, because you failed miserably in copying someone that you thought you can. And that's because I'm going off track. Anyways, back on track. What I'm saying is, everyone copies. And copying is great. Absolutely everyone copies. You gotta start somewhere by copying, and absolutely everyone has an experience with copying, whether they're the ones who are copying or they're the ones who are being copied. First time I realized I sort of enjoy copying was years ago. Let's go back 18 years ago in 1995. Oh jeez, can't believe people who were born in 1995 are now 18 years old. I feel old. Okay. Let's go back in 1995. I was 4 in kindergarten, and I had a blue Mickey Mouse bag. It was a backpack. It was a blue backpack with like Mickey's head on it. And I was in class. I saw another girl in class with a similar backpack, but hers was red and it had Minnie Mouse instead of Mickey Mouse. Like somehow I felt like there is a connection between her and me, just because we had like similar backpacks. So it was assembly, and I was a few rows away from her, but I could sort of see her backpack, and I kept eyeing her the whole time. I stood rows away from her. And like whenever she does, or whenever she lifted her hand or kicked something, I did what she did, and it felt good. And I was satisfied. And another time I was eating in a restaurant with my grandparents and played in the indoor playground. I saw this girl coming out with her parents, probably just her mom, wearing the same exact dress as I was at that time. And this drove me to get closer to her. Like, I followed her around whenever she climbed the slides. Whenever she went down the slides, I went down after her, and she didn't notice me. Maybe she did, maybe she just doesn't give a damn. But I was there, I was like copying her from at least a safe distance. That's when our parents called. I was with my grandparents, she was with her parents. That was when our parents/grandparents called us to eat. And I was trying to eye her, like, do everything she does. And she took a bite out of her snack. I would do it the exact way that she did, just because we're both wearing the same dresses. I also loved commercials back then, for the sole reason of just copying the little kids in them. Okay, cut to next year when I was 5, or maybe this happened around the same year. I don't remember. My grandparents and babysitter told me I kept empty cereal boxes, and waited for these cereal commercials to show up. And then whenever they show up, I got all excited and copied whatever the kids did, holding up the cereal boxes, like, singing the jingle and eating the cereal. Even though there's no cereal, I would pretend to eat the cereal. There was also this pen quarter commercial. I'm not sure if the brand was pen quarter or not. It was a localized version, so the pen was black. But yeah, the concept of recording using your pen was pretty neat back then. Whenever the commercial popped out, I used one of those cartridge eraser thingies, because like my 5-year-old self didn't have a pen, and I talked to it as if I'm recording, just like the little girl in the commercial. She was recording something. She probably needed to remind her dad to like get her some groceries or stuff whenever he was at work. And then he played the recording back, and I kept thinking, I wish I could do that with my dad. I don't know if he's in office, but I wasn't living with my dad. I was living with my grandparents, so that's not possible. So yeah, notice any reason why I did this? In the first case, it's because both of us had similar bags. like similar Mickey Minnie bags. And because me and the other little girl were wearing the same dresses. And when it comes to the commercials, there's not exactly any definite similarities other than me being a kid and the little kids were my age or slightly older with the products. It's gotta be the products. Here we have a 5-year-old girl who's holding a cornflakes box. And I was a 5-year-old girl who was holding a cornflakes box. And then the other commercial, there's this little girl holding a pen, speaking to her like a mic, and I was a little girl who was holding something like a pen, speaking to it like a mic. It's a sense of, hey, I own that too, maybe I can do what they do. Because we have the same belongings. So I've heard in a YouTube video once that people have this urge to copy or envy. See, can't mention one without the other. Because they felt that there's a connection. They just felt a connection between them and the copying target that sort of pushed them to do similar things as the target. In my first example, back in kindergarten, it's because we both had similar bags. As I mentioned before, similar, but not the same. But it's enough to act as an equalizer. So I've written about this before in a blog post years ago, which is now dead, because the company couldn't afford to keep the servers up anymore, RIP blog.com. It's about the role of similarities and how it draws us closer to other people. These similarities or equalizers. It's not just about friendship, but in terms of envying and copying too. Like sure, you want to be friends with people similar to you and having similar interests, but you also want to make them copying victims in some cases. We tend to envy people who are like us, you know, who are in the same field as us, who do the same thing to us, but better. It's their level here and your level here. That's why you envy. But it doesn't have to be strangers. It can be your own friends or family members. And when you envy, you start copying them whenever you can. It's a sign that you can do better. It's a sign that what you envy from them is coming to you. So why not start now? It can be two seemingly completely different people. But if one of them sees the slightest bit of similarity with the other, they also want to make more similarities, if you know what I mean. I don't know how this came to be, but I just like finding connections and similarities with two or more different things. And by things, it can mean anything though. As I mentioned in my previous vlog, I'm into using alternative apps and social media. Soup instead of Tumblr. Chacha.me instead of Formspring.me. RIP both sites. Triller instead of TikTok. Quai instead of Vine. Well, apply this logic and you'll get that I was trying to make what I'm using just as good as what everyone is using. There's this sort of competitiveness. Whenever my friends used any of these apps, later I tried doing the same with the alternative apps I'm using. Like, them were blogging on Tumblr and I was reposting whatever they reposted on Soup, and they're making videos on Vine. And I tried doing the same with Quai. Oh, and did I mention the time I used to copy some people's fan art of TV series into fan art of bands? Yeah, that happened. Back in the late 07 and early 08, I was into this TV series Heroes, as well as Fueled by Ramen Bands. And there was this whole inside joke among my friends and the community that all those band members have powers just like the characters from Heroes. And it led to comics, and the joke spread, and it all ended with me finding this awesome artist who does fan art of TV series. I was a fan of her Heroes fan art, and then I found that she did other fan art of TV series. And since her style and badass aesthetic were, I'd say, copyable, I started drawing like her. I started drawing like she did, and parodied, well, I wouldn't say parodied, remade her TV series fan art into band fan art. The longer I did this, the more similarities I started seeing with the characters from her favorite TV shows with members of my favorite bands. And so I did just that. Whenever she comes up with a new fan art for her TV show, I started doing the version for that band, for a particular band, which I felt was similar to the TV show that she's drawing. So I started coordinating. Like, if she does this fan art of this TV series, I'm starting doing this band. I'm gonna parody it with this band. If she does that, I'm gonna do just that. Unfortunately, I got caught. And stopped doing it altogether. But that's a story for another time. But you see, this is why crossovers happen. People see similarities between different fandoms and they make parodies. There's been countless of this incident happening because we live in a meme culture. People have started to cool down on the copying accusations, which was way worse back in the mid to late 2000s, and they become more understanding. I like that, thanks to meme culture. All hail meme culture. Bottom line is, there's nothing new under the sun. Everybody copies, and copying is good. Copying is good for learning and for self-improvement, and recreating someone else's work and making it yours still takes creativity, and that is valid too. If you think you're just like someone, then go ahead. Copy the things that they do that you've never done before. But don't forget to still be yourself. Don't lose your sense of self because you are you. You're still you. You're not them. You're just doing what they do. There's a handful of reasons why people copy, but I guess that's for another video. It's time for tip of the day, which is, I'm gonna quote the Strokes. I'll try anything once, and you should too. Try everything once. It goes well with the theme of this video. So don't knock it till you try it. Even if you think that you're not that skillful, you should try it once. You may never know what potential you have if you never tried. Eat new foods you think you'd hate. You probably won't hate it just as much after you tried it. Watch YouTube videos that aren't really in your field. If you still don't like it, then you can just leave it. If you don't normally cook, you can try cooking. Just make sure you don't burn the house down. Does it really matter if you have zero skills for it? No, just do it. Just try. Try everything. Absolutely everything. Try it at least once. This was the reason I tried vlogging in the first place, because I'm really not fit for vlogs. I don't think I was fit for vlogs because of my stuttering. I don't stutter much, but I can't really talk well either. But turns out I enjoy it. And I get to appear as silly as I can, which I normally don't. Outside. What even is outside? We're all quarantined inside our homes. What is outside? And with that, I bid you adios, losers. I'll see you probably next month. This is a monthly thing.